All right, I'm starting up Eclipse, and I changed my workspace to my flash drive. And you can see out in my project, I have my linked list main, and then I have my string linked list. And the string linked list down at the bottom has an inner class called list node. So this is what the first thing we did on Monday is we did the list node. And just as a reminder, each node has data, and then it has a link to the previous node that was made. And if we set the link to null, that means it's the end of our list. So here you can see where we've set it up to null. So this list node is a really, really simple class, but you're going to see how we're going to repeat it over and over again, like a circle of people holding hands. So do you all have the code up and running?
Yeah.
Okay, it's all working? Okay. So to step through this, I'm going to go into my list main, and I'm going to put a breakpoint right here at the beginning where it says list add node to start. And I want you go ahead and do it along with me, and then because you really have to actually do this to really get a sense of what's happening. So I got my breakpoint. I'm going to do my debug. And you can see where it stopped right here on add a node. So I'm going to step into that. Now, as we go through this, we're going to hit some things like this println where our source code isn't ready. So we're going to step over those. So when we go into methods that go beyond, then we're going to do a step over. So you'll have to watch kind of careful. So we're going to step into, and we're going to go to add node to start. So you'll see how it jumps over to string linked list, and it jumps into add node to start. And our add data was, what was our add data? You can look up here in the fields and see what the add data is. Yeah, O-N-E. So it's a string O-N-E. And then we're going to take that string O-N-E and also our head, which if I go into this, let's see if I can see what our head is. Yeah, so I'm going to rearrange these windows. So I'm going to make my console smaller, and I'm going to make my variable window larger so I can see more what's happening, because we're going to be looking at a lot of variables up here. But if I open up this, which is this object, what is my head?
Null.
It's null. So I'm passing in 1 as a string and null as the head. So let's step into that and see what happens. And we're creating a new list node. So we went into a place where we don't have source code. So now I'm going to do the step out of, or the step return. And you can see up here where I'm going through my stack. Oh, and I missed it. So let me try it again. I'm going to go in and do the 2. And I'm going to step over. Now, what is my head now? And you can see the plus sign there, so I'm going to open it up. What does my head contain? What's the data?
2.
Yeah, the data is now 2, and what's the link? It goes on to the next to the next one. So if I open up my link, do you see how my link goes to my first data which we created? So now what I have is this is null. That means it's end of the list. And then here's my 1, and that's linked with my 2 by this link here. So do you see this link goes to this data? So here I have the 2 nodes. So let's stop our program right here and go back into the source code. And let's add, say, 2 more. Go into your main, and we're going to add 2 more. So say list add a node to start. So now I have 4 things, and they're going to link to each other. I'm going to move my breakpoint. Oh, I'll do it down to 3 because we've already stepped through this now, so we know it's going to work. And now if I open up my list, I have the 2 nodes, right? And I haven't done 3 or 4 yet, but if I open up my head, it's going to point to 2. And then that link is going to point to 1. So when we did the first add new node, what happened? What was our data?
1.
It was 1. And what was the link?
No.
Then we went ahead and added the second data, or the second node. And what was that? And what was the link?
No. Or the other one.
No, it went to here. Okay? Now when we do 3, what's going to happen? We're going to create a new one. We're going to create 3, and that's going to point to here. Now you can see up here that we don't have on our link, where's our link? You can see the link, it just says string link list node, and it gives us an ID of 27, so it doesn't tell us what the actual memory is. Now Greg sent me an email where he did a print screen, and he printed out the email address, or the actual address. But this is an image of what we're doing. So now if we step through this one more time, and create that third. So I'm going to open this up, and I'm going to step. And I'm going to step over this because I don't want to go into that morass of creating a new piece. And now we have the third, and so now I look at my link, and you see that here's my head, and that's 3. So this is what I have up on the board. And then the link of it goes to 2, and the link of that goes to 1, and the link to that goes to null. So do you see how my linked list is building up? And if we want to have even more fun, we'll do it again. And then we do the same thing with 4. All right, now to print out this list, we're going to put our list to work. So here's our string linked list. First we had to find the length of it. So we set up a counter for 0. We set our position to head. And again, I'm going to open up this, and what's our head? Our head starts with 4, so I need to draw another node up there on the whiteboard. So we grabbed our head, and then we're saying while a position is not null. Well, what does null tell us if we bump into a null? It's into the list. So we're going to go through, we're going to count. And if I close this down, you can see our count coming up here. And then how do we know the next position? Well, we go to that link. So we open up this. Here's our head. Here's our next link. That's going to take us to 3 or ID 32. You can think of these IDs loosely as memory addresses. Yep. Yep. This while loop will keep going through all the links.
The variable list there.
Oh.
You should be able to follow it all the way.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah. Here, I'll show you. What I'll do is I'll open this up. And so I look at this object, and I'll look at the head, and the head goes to the link. So this is kind of a repeat of what's on the whiteboard. And then I look at that link, and there's my data, 3, with the link that goes to data 2, with the link that goes to data 1, with the link that ends up. So you see right here is my link list. Now I'm going to drop another breakpoint here just so I don't have to keep doing through this same loop. And I'll just say go ahead and run. And then I can see that my count up here is now 4. I have 4 items. I'm going to step over my printout because do you see that what I did is I just went and got that length. So I'm going to step over my print, and then I'm going to do show list. So here's show list. Again, I start at my head, and then I step through until I get to the end of the list. So here I print out the data, and I'll open my output so you can see a little bit better. And there's my data link. So this is like a text version of what I have up on the whiteboard. And I do the same process for on list. I pass in what I'm looking for, in this case 2, and I do my head, I do my loop, and I see if it matches my target using the equals because I'm using strings. When I find it, I just return with a position. If it doesn't find it, I return null. And so in this case, it's going to find it. There's our 2. And you can see my output here. 2 is on the list. And then if I do this with 6, well, 6 isn't on the list. So that tells me that's my search. And it basically just went through all the nodes. So that's stepping through the manual things. Everybody getting more comfortable now on what a linked list is?